The sinking of the Titanic. It's one of the most infamous maritime disasters in history, a tragedy that left over 1,500 lives lost in the icy waters of the North Atlantic. But what exactly happened that fateful night? And who, or what, is truly responsible for this catastrophic event? Was it just a series of unfortunate accidents, or was there more at play? Today, we're diving deep into the night of April 14, 1912, to unravel the mystery of the Titanic's demise, explore the backgrounds of the key figures involved, and reveal little-known facts about the people behind the disaster. So, buckle up. This is going to be a journey through history, filled with unexpected twists, hidden details, and, of course, the cold, hard truth. Stay with us until the end. Let's start by setting the scene. April 10, 1912, the R.M.S. Titanic, the largest and most luxurious ship ever built, set sail from Southampton, England, on its maiden voyage. The ship was a marvel of modern engineering, boasting opulent interiors, cutting-edge safety features, and state-of-the-art technology. It was considered unsinkable, a symbol of human achievement. But as we now know, that confidence would soon prove tragically misplaced. For the next 4 days, passengers aboard the Titanic enjoyed a serene and luxurious journey. Little did they know that as the ship crossed the frigid waters of the Atlantic, it was heading straight into a deadly ice field. Now, let's talk about the night of April 14th. The Titanic was just a few hundred miles from the coast of Newfoundland, Canada, when disaster struck. The night was eerily calm, no moon, no wind, and a glassy sea. It was the perfect conditions for a ship to sail through, but lurking beneath the surface of the water, invisible to the crew and passengers, were icebergs. Around 11:40 p.m., lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee spotted an iceberg dead ahead. They rang the bell 3 times to alert the bridge. But despite the advanced technology on board, such as the Marconi wireless telegraph and the sophisticated ship design, the Titanic was still moving at a speed of about 22 knots or 25 miles per hour for my non-mariners, far too fast to avoid the iceberg in time. In a desperate attempt to avoid the collision, First Officer William Murdoch ordered the ship to turn hard to port and for the engines to be reversed. But it was too late. The Titanic's starboard side scraped along the iceberg, causing a gash more than 300 feet long below the waterline. Water began pouring into the ship's hull, and the Titanic's fate was sealed. It was going down. But what caused this tragedy? Was it simply a fatal error of navigation, or was something more sinister responsible? Let's focus on the man at the helm of the Titanic that night, Captain Edward John Smith. Smith had been a seasoned captain with over 40 years of experience in the Royal Navy and on passenger liners. But in the case of the Titanic, his confidence in the ship and its supposed unsinkability may have clouded his judgment. Smith was reportedly known for his relaxed approach to safety drills. He had even decided not to conduct a full lifeboat drill before the Titanic set sail, a decision that would later haunt him. Additionally, Smith was under pressure to complete the voyage on time, given the media frenzy surrounding the Titanic's maiden journey. His decision to maintain the ship's speed in known iceberg-laden waters at night has been heavily criticized, with many believing that it was this speed that contributed to the collision. Another crucial figure was the ship's owner, J. Bruce Ismay, the managing director of the White Star Line. Ismay, who was on board the Titanic as a passenger, has often been accused of pressuring Captain Smith to keep the ship at high speed to make the voyage as impressive as possible. In the aftermath of the sinking, Ismay would become a scapegoat, with many blaming him for prioritizing prestige over safety. But here's a lesser-known fact. Ismay was actually a highly accomplished businessman who had overseen the design and construction of the Titanic. While many saw him as a villain in the aftermath, his role in the disaster wasn't as straightforward as some claimed. It's believed that Ismay, as a member of the ship's elite class, might have been unaware of the severity of the Titanic situation when he was one of the first to board a lifeboat. But this didn't stop the press from painting him as a cowardly villain. But let's not forget about the passengers aboard the Titanic. One of the most fascinating stories involves John Jacob Astor Thor, one of the wealthiest men in the world at the time. Astor had boarded the Titanic with his 19-year-old wife, Madeline, whom he had recently married. Astor famously tried to ensure that his wife was placed safely in a lifeboat. But his fate was tragic. He was last seen in the freezing waters shortly before his body was found days later. His legacy was forever tied to the disaster, but many don't know that his actions that night showed him a devoted husband, fighting to the very end. Then there's the unsung hero, Thomas Andrews, the Titanic's chief designer. Andrews had been on board to monitor the ship's performance and to ensure the maiden voyage went smoothly. After the iceberg struck, Andrews did everything he could to help the passengers, staying on the ship until the very last moments, helping women and children into lifeboats. His death was a heartbreaking loss, and it's often overshadowed by the other figures in the story. But perhaps the most surprising part of the night's events was how the media reacted to the disaster. News of the Titanic sinking spread rapidly across the globe, and the story became a media sensation. What many don't realize is how the press shaped the narrative. Some newspapers played up the idea of the Titanic being unsinkable and later used that reputation as a hook to increase sales. They also sensationalized the events surrounding the wealthy passengers, creating a story of class struggle as the rich survived while the poor perished. In the end, the Titanic's story is not just about one man or one mistake. It's about a combination of human error, arrogance, and technological limitations. Captain Smith's overconfidence, Ismay's pressure to maintain speed, and the ship's flawed design all played a part in the disaster. But so too did the sheer magnitude of the tragedy, an iceberg, the frozen sea, and a series of decisions that led to a catastrophe that could not be avoided. And so, we remember the night the Titanic sank, not just for the loss of life, but for the lessons it teaches us about hubris, human error, and the unpredictable forces of nature. It's a story that has captivated us for over a century, reminding us of our vulnerability, no matter how advanced we become. This is a principle that remains relevant today. Thanks for watching. If you found this deep dive into the Titanic's tragic night fascinating, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button for more historical deep dives. And of course, ring the bell so you never miss a moment of our latest content. Until next time, take care, and remember, if you feed on facts, you'll never go hungry.